golden poison frog. Its skin is lethally toxic and can cause full body paralysis. Can you say severe neurotoxicity? Bye, Dudley Frog. Have a nice day.
Hello, Satya. Congratulations on winning the 11-second club competition. My name is Jason Martinsen. I've been a mentor at Animation Mentor since 2006. Off and on, usually I teach 6 to 9 months a year. Currently, I work at Real Effects, an animation studio located in Montreal. And if you go to my website, jmartinsen.com, you can see a lot of the projects I've worked on, and you can see the reels and read about my career there if you're curious. All right, but I'm going to get right into this animation, so let's just play it once for everyone to see this beautiful work.
Golden poison frog. Its skin is lethally toxic and can cause full body paralysis. Can you say severe neurotoxicity? Bye, Dudley Frog. Have a nice day.
It's awesome. I love that it's you've chosen a 2D. I was traditionally trained, and unfortunately, because of the timing of me coming out in the industry in 2002, everyone was going to 3D. So I haven't spent much time doing 2D in my career. I still love to draw, but it's always nice to see that it's still being pursued, and there's people like you doing awesome stuff. So really appealing designs and posing, and just very, very high level of appeal here. And the animation is great too, which I will comment on as we go through. So like if you guys were if you're gonna put this on a demo reel, which I'm assuming you will because it's an amazing piece, there's a few things I might do that right away, just presentationally could plus it. I would probably do a very simple monochromatic or black and white tone treatment of the background. So, you know, this could be the stage here in this area, and it would be lighter, and it would kind of get darker as you go out, but you could do some like simple shading, and it would just make the characters pop. You can keep the characters uncolored and in 2D just like you are, but it'll really make everything just feel a lot more clear. Another thing I would do, and it wouldn't be that difficult, is to add a background track. You can just go to like a sound effects website and get like the sound of a forest. And then of course for the little frog here, you know, he's doing his little or whatever the sound the frogs make. I would add that in there. And then you can go ahead and either with a microphone and your own voice, you know, you can add sound effects like, you know,
Golden,
like the moving of the magnifying glass and stuff like that. And when the frog, when he walks around, you know, you can just do little steps by using your hands on something, or actually using your feet on you know, an outdoor concrete or gravel. And the frog jumping up and down, you know, little sounds for the hits. Those are all going to make the animation more presentable on your demo reel, and just that much more plus. Like, it's amazing as I get farther in my career how much I appreciate sound effects and music and all those things. Because it'll just make it's all there to support this amazing animation. But that's what we're going to get into now. So let's do that. Okay. So obviously we have a lot of dead space here before the dialogue starts, which is another reason why I'm adding an ambient background soundtrack would really kind of link it all together. So it's not just silent talking. But all the acting choices you have here are great. I love that you already set up this situation where you have this dead corpse in a hilarious pose. Maybe I would draw the pupils just a bit bigger, just so you can read them. Maybe it's the low res, but something like that just reads a little bit nicer. I don't really have any posing suggestions. Like, there's some tangenting going around here with the foot and the body. You could overlap it more or less. The frog is kind of hard to read. Maybe you would want to go over this cycle here with a darker color or a different line just to make sure that's a focal point. But everything else is really fun. Like, the expression's fun. I mean, you could maybe push the asymmetry a little bit, or maybe you'd want to have like this lower lid up, that to get more crazy with it. But he's basically been petrified, so you can really do anything you want. It's a cartoon. I think it's great, and the staging is really clear. And he does his little look away of kind of nonchalance, which is really beautiful. You could add what I like to call a pre-antic on this move if you want. And basically that's just having, this is the line of his head, and this is the next frame as he starts to go, because he's going from a still held pose. Sorry, this is pose. You could do something like where this moves up and over to the left just a tiny bit. This is the line of the eyes. You know, it could be on twos as well, but basically he would just go up a bit to the screen left and then go over, and it would just be for maybe just those 2 frames or 4 frames maximum if you're on twos. And all it'll do is prepare the audience, and you can keep his eyes open. It doesn't have to be a blink or anything. You could start to close them, but I would keep most of this completely in the same position, and you could even, you know, counter the hat a little bit. So the hat, if it's here, it wouldn't have to, you know, pop this far over. It could be just secondary a little bit on this frame, and, you know, just move a bit. It's more in the head, and the hat's countering behind. But the pre-antic is kind of like just an anticipation to prepare the audience that he's going to be moving over. And you'll read this. You have this really clear antic here with his hand coming up, great silhouette. He reaches in, grabs his compass, and comes forward, and then leans and does his examination. And all that feels good. It's super clear. He does blink a lot. That's one of the comments I'm going to have overall in this animation, is there's a few things that you could simplify in his eyes because they're so big and graphic. Like maybe I would just choose one of these. He blinks, right? And then he goes into the squint. So like here, you could either keep his eyes open and looking down. This one I like. Or here, you could keep his eyes open and looking down. Definitely this is great, this little overshoot, and then how the secondary works on the hat and all that. It's beautiful. I love the nice strong hold. The pose is really good. And then he goes into his speech. So this is awesome. I like how organic this feels. The eyes lead everything. The compass, the spacing on the compass, it does pop a little on this frame. You know, you could start moving it, but the problem is you're really clearing it for the eyes. So the other option is you could actually counter it. And this is again the pre-antic technique, right? So if it's here, it's just something I like to do sometimes in cartoony animation. Just makes the animation have a little extra snap, a little extra kiss. So it would go up and then start moving to where you have it. He goes into his little talk.
Golden poison frog.
Nice. All those hit the beats nice. This move here.
Golden poison frog.
On frog, it does hit quite hard. Like this is the spacing, which is quite hard. And when you listen to the dialogue, he says golden poison frog. And there's not any part on there that's particularly harsh except for maybe golden. So personally, I would have tried to like have the movement be a little more with the cadence of the voice and maybe softened into this frog a little more. So adding it in between here and here. And you could cushion that rather than just hitting it so hard. That's just my personal preference. I don't think what you did is wrong, but it feels like the animation to me is hitting a different read. Like he's like goes and poison frog, like a little bit more excited of a sound.
Golden poison frog.
The animation is awesome.
Poison frog. Skin is.
And this antic is great. I like how he leans back. You have this really good pose. Very proud. He's got some super fun asymmetrical expressions here.
Skin is lethally toxic and can cause full body.
And this little bit here where he goes
Lethally toxic and can cause.
lethally toxic. There's a little bit of shape change popping going on with his eyes. And I might personally try to simplify that area a little bit. So here you have the reverse moon eyes, and then he goes into kind of these slit eyes, and then you go into this awesome asymmetrical expression, and then you go into the half moon eyes again, and then you go into the kind of scrunchy Chinese eyes, and then you go into flat eyes, and then you go into the asymmetrical expression again. And so what I might try to do is pick one or two less shapes through there and just try to decide which ones are more important and that you would want to read. And they're all good, so it's not like there's a wrong choice, but like
toxic and
this is a nice, fun expression. So maybe you could favor more on this, or
can cause full body paralysis.
This one I really like too. He's like, it's a concentrating thinking. So you could try to find beats in here where there's less big eye wide moments and less changes of closed eye positions. You have here the flat eyes, the upward eyes, the downward eyes, and just choose one and keep it as his body's moving around. So you don't have these eye shapes going all over the place. Because if you just look at his eyes through this frame 140
skin is lethally toxic and can cause full body paralysis
to 218, there's a lot happening there. And I think if you simplified it, the acting would be clearer. So I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I just think you might be able to simplify some of those shapes. And I personally, I would lean towards like this. It's very descriptive of his kind of technical jargon. And these shapes maybe less of, because you have those so prominent here and like at the end here when he's all happy. So it might be nice you have like examining or kind of realization, technical scrunchy eyes, and then happy, hey, goodbye, frog. So there's like 3 emotional beats with his eyes.
skin is lethally
But I do like these asymmetrical ones too. So maybe you could keep some of those and just try to pick a eye closed shape that's more similar, and maybe make this one a little more squinty, like keep it open so there's asymmetry, but don't go as much into these shapes here. And maybe that is your eyes closed shape, or maybe your eye closed shape is the more half moon up or straight across one. You just pick a common one for the eyes closed. I wonder if you could even get rid of some blinks too. Blink, blink,
can cause
blink,
full body
blink.
paralysis. Can you say severe
Like you might be able to find a blink in there you could take out.
neuroparalysis?
And then lip sync wise,
Body paralysis.
paralysis. You have this great shape here, which is the S, and then you get out of it into this funny pout, but there's still that sound. So I think you want to hold this mouth shape for another 4 frames or so. You could change it a little if you wanted to build it or reduce it. But physically, like what his body's doing is awesome.
Skin is lethally toxic.
I love the little hand presentation, this little hand on the chin, the hand behind the back, the posture of line of action is super strong.
Can cause full body paralysis.
Like the frog is just going on this cycle.
Toxic and can cause full body
The look away here is nice. This would be maybe the moment I would keep for the big eyes because I like the look away.
full body.
But then in here, when he looks back, you could go back to maybe a more inquisitive, squintier shape, more like this or like this. This is really appealing to me.
Paralysis. Can you
And then this little reach point thing he does where he's like touching the corpse is nice, but I wonder
body paralysis. Can you say
I wonder if you wanted to really make that a thing out of that, if you would take this audio track and split it and give like an extra 12 frames between
body
paralysis and the next line. Obviously, there's like a breath in there, but if you added a background track, you could get away with that without noticing it. To give that like line, touch, and then it makes it a beat of it. Because right now it's kind of overlapping everything.
Body paralysis. Can you say
there's enough time in there right now, but if you added like 6 frames on either side of that, it would really read a lot better. And this is not something that's mandatory to do at all, and it wouldn't be that much more work. It would just be giving a pause here,
paralysis.
Basically a pause, but the hand would still stay back, holding this for an extra 12 frames. And then the hand just does its thing, and then he goes back into this animation.
Can you say severe neurotoxicity?
I love that little head bob.
Can you say severe neurotoxicity?
And here again, with the eyes, I love this expression. And what if you kept it compressed through here until
severe neurotoxicity?
Until here. So severe neurotoxicity, you know? So if this, well, this is a good compression, but if this shape was still kind of that slant, that compressed eye shape that you have on here, like if you kept this eye shape, 245,
severe neurotoxicity,
all the way to 262 when you do the blink, and then that pops, I think you would get just a nicer read there. Because again, you have the eyes go big, go small, go big again. There's just a lot of I'm not going to say over animation, but there's more information than you need, and his attitude hasn't changed that much. They're all super appealing shapes, though.
severe neurotoxicity?
Lip sync feels great there.
Can you say severe neurotoxicity? Neurotoxicity?
And then again, this is a moment where it'd be nice to have a sound effect of the frog, because that's what causes his reaction. And if you wanted to plus this a little bit, you could have a tiny reaction on the foot when he jumps off it, like if the foot could go, you know. And then he looks, you get the plop sound, and the frog leaps away.
Say severe neurotoxicity?
That little move here is super adorable. I love this little squash and stretch and little kind of scamper. It's really appealing face. And stop.
Bye, Dudley Frog.
This pose is amazing.
Bye, Dudley Frog.
I love this handout. This is such a great, strong, clear, cute, adorable, like little kid pose. And the expression is super appealing.
Dudley Frog, Bye, Dudley Frog.
I think you could maybe do a little on the lip sync here.
Bye, Dudley.
Bye, dead. Maybe closing the mouth a little more around 330. Bye, dead. Right now it feels like his mouth stays open a lot. Bye, dead frog. Might want to find a moment where he can dead close it all the way.
Frog.
And then you get the frog deadly. If you can get the F shape, which I don't think you have.
Dudley Frog.
Yeah, you just kind of, it looks like he's saying ah. So you might want to have like an F shape around,
Dudley.
I don't know, 331 or something.
Frog, have a nice day. Frog, have a nice day.
And these poses are super snappy, super appealing. This last pose is ridiculously well structured. Like this line of action, it's amazing. If you wanted to add more at the end, all I would do is just a little blink or double blink, because he's have a nice day. Blink, blink, you know, blink. One blink or two blinks at the end, and then you have the end of your animation. So great job. Those are all just obviously some of them are lateral moves. Some of them are more aesthetic in the sense of like the background, but hopefully you get something out of that. And congrats again. Keep animating.